Peer review in organizational structures. Um, I was a program manager inside an organization that implemented um, project management tools, methodologies, created them, shaped them, revised them to make them work. So inside those processes were written down rules for peer review processes. Now, peer review in a software development environment means people that write either code next to you or above you or under you, but you have a group of peers, people that are in different aspects of the technology that you're working on, and they will review a piece of software. It could take hours, could take days. It probably went out for reviews on the way by because some of these are that tough and critical and interact with other systems. So misassigning a variable, not clearing registers, um, some of those can be fatal inside of real-time systems. So you go through these peer review talks and conversations, and in the meantime you've had hours of phone conversations probably with these people or their team members about putting stuff together and how to interface correctly. um, so any little software project we worked on really had 5 to 7 people involved in it, even if only one person was tasked with the responsibility. That responsibility had a process in it, and there were both formal and informal peer reviews done. Now, sometimes that's a lunch. You're sitting at lunch with somebody and you ask them 1 or 2 questions and you go on to baseball. But that these are all recognized forms of peer review. If in your project and program notes you put down that you discussed these 2 topics and took notes, then it is a more formal peer review. You can identify that it happened, but you're a professional. Why would you went to lunch to talk business and pleasure, and 15 minutes of it was business. But it's just, you're talking the same language, so it's sports. So informal peer review. Now, I said I worked with process instruments, which in this case were uh, one explosion-proof house filled with gas chromatographs and a few other instruments, but they're all chromatograph type instruments. Flame ionization detector. What was the other one? Flame. Wasn't flame. I forget. I don't have good notes from those days, a long time ago. But I was the site owner of those instruments. They really were owned by headquarters at US Steel, and I worked with chemical engineers there and made sure that they agreed with changes I had to make to the system so that they were right and effective. One of them was a new mole sieve for one of the columns in an analyzer because process upsets were causing us problems, and I couldn't keep the equipment running. So we changed specifications and the equipment ran better. But that went through what would be called an informal peer review process, because I sent the information to them. They updated their records. They agreed with the changes, didn't have any problems. If something had gone wrong there, then we would have gone into a more formal process. I would have gotten another engineer or 3 involved. And so in every case, all of my recommendations were built with other people's knowledge, because that's how it works. So peer review is an informal or very formal process. If you go look at the papers done by the National Academy of Sciences, right, the National Academies Press, those are peer reviews of other papers, of other work. So they point to other work that you would have to go read to understand what they're talking about. But they are talking about that work very specifically, very knowledgeable. It's in their field. They're educated. They're recognized by a number of people in the field as being experts. So, and yet there's politics involved in it, but it's more professional politics than friggin' full contact. So there is a quick intro to peer review. I mentioned Jordan structured analysis. It was introduced while working on software for a nuclear waste processing facility. It's a structured management technique, and inside of that, some of these things were being built. This was the foundation for PMBOK and other books that were still being developed, and they just, they plagiarized each other, and they bought each other out, and a larger, more better system for large engineering projects came up. If you're into PMBOK methodology, I sure would like to discuss spiral development methodology, but the rest of it I'm not too interested in. So just I can tell you how it works, where the signatures go. All right, I think I'm losing steam here. This is my second for the days.